Space Invaders Invasion Day is probably the most embarrassing game ever made. This sounds like an extremely harsh thing to say, but I honestly can't remember a time when I played a game that not only fails on every single thing that it does, but was then abandoned by its own creator in an attempt to not tarnish their legacy.
Father, give me legs.
From its gameplay, to its story, to its voiceover,
My town, it has been destroyed.
to its concept, right to its fucking title. The game is called Space Invaders Invasion Day, and the game doesn't take place on the day that the invaders invade from space. It's just incorrect. Like, it takes place a few days after the invasion. Why did they call it this? Tell me, Tato! How dare you call yourself Tato and then try and sell this in Ireland? You know why? Because the nation's favourite packet of crisps are called Tato. And you want to know how much Ireland loves Tato? We built a fucking theme park because of it.
Tato is the fucking best.
Look, the original Space Invaders is one of the most famous games ever made, and rightly so. It's so fucking cool. The sound effects are legendary, the monster design on the artwork is iconic. It dominated arcades in the late 70s, and its legacy has continued strongly because there's been some pretty great versions of it released since. If the Space Invaders games were a family photo, you'd have a big line in the front row of these successful and accomplished people. They'd be the equivalent of scholars and doctors and athletes. But then, who's that in the back there? Oh, why that's Invasion Day. You know, the one that grew up and became a school shooter? Kind of drags the family name down a bit. So it's mid-2002 and cinematic games are on the rise. We've had GTA 3, MGS 2, Silent Hill 2. Video games are finally finding their feet and standing side by side with movies in being able to tell compelling stories.
He was destined to become the only hope for humans and dolphins.
At some point, someone at Tato realises this, gets hammered drunk at a work party, and shouts, "You know what we need to do? Space Invaders meets Independence Day." Then he went home and vomited on the cat. So the cover of the game is pretty fucking dour. It's all grey and depressing. A massive spaceship towers over the ruins of skyscrapers while aliens that look like four-legged arses walk the streets. Then in a harsh red, you have the game's title. Hey, remember when Space Invaders was a simple arcade shooter? Well, now it's 9/11. Have fun, kids. The back of the cover is a little more interesting. It's simple and minimalist. I initially thought this was a cool design choice, but now looking back, it's probably just because there's so little in the game that they had nothing else to say. But whatever, it tries to sell the cinematic feel that they were clearly going for. Join the drama. Okay, and then you see the game manual, and on a newspaper cover of the World Times, because yes, apparently there's a global newspaper, on Thursday the 19th of December, a headline simply reads, "Invaders came." Past tense. Even though the game is called Invasion Day, you know, it's just all wrong. So after you violate your PlayStation by putting this pile of shite into it, you're immediately welcomed by this. At first I thought something had gone wrong with my console, but no, it's just a screen telling you that it found no save file on the memory card. Why couldn't they just say no save data found like every other game instead of this load failed shit? And also, as if anyone is going to play this fucking train wreck more than once. Then the developer video plays, and for a few seconds I thought I was about to play The fucking Exorcist. Anyway, the opening cinematic looks nice for the time. Sure, it's a painfully obvious homage to Independence Day and that the buildings seem to fall down before anything has even attacked them, but for the most part it's quite nicely detailed, and it looks like a lot of effort went into making this the best that— What the fuck is that guy wearing? What? It's like he's dressed up to be in a fucking Daft Punk music video. I don't— like, you have all these guys kitted out in tactical combat gear, and this dude is out here looking like shitty Prince, with his zip halfway down so that he's showing off his chest. What on earth? It just completely takes you out of the entire cutscene because it's so fucking nonsensical. Why? And then his grenades match his costume? What the fuck? What were they going for? And then we see him at a graveyard. Like I said, the game is called Invasion Day, as in set during one day. How the fuck did they have time to not only recover the dead bodies of the soldiers, but then also dig graves and make headstones for them? It's like the developers forgot the fact that there's an alien invasion supposed to be happening, because yeah, we really need to see this scene of a cosplay Frieza from Dragon Ball Z being sad in a graveyard. Why is he still wearing that awful costume when he's grieving? Tits and all. Speaking of tits, we then get introduced to the female character, who the devs thought to give the biggest breasts imaginable to. Poor woman. If the aliens don't get her, then that eventual herniated disc will. She's apparently looking for her missing boyfriend and finds his jacket. Then she has a shower. Because of fucking course she does. Yeah, there's an alien invasion happening right outside the building that could collapse at any moment, but yes, definitely time for a shower. Fucking hell. I always wonder when games do this, do they really think that teenage boys are buying the new fucking Space Invaders game to have a wank to 4 seconds of a woman taking a shower? I mean, I often see these games on the Nintendo eShop where they have pictures of scantily clad characters practically spread eagle on the cover and in the screenshots, but then the actual game ends up being like fucking chess or some shit. What the fuck, teenagers? Just go and buy a real doll like the rest of us and stop being so weird. At least this shower scene isn't as creepy as the one from Beyond Two Souls with Ellen Page. That doesn't feature any nudity, but then in the debug of the game, some dude discovered that the devs had created her body entirely nude.
So I was so glad and so relieved when she accepted to be on board. So relieved.
You're kidding. Anyway, then we're introduced to the last character, who's some dumb kid in a gang or something. The kids actually take out a few of the aliens with pipes. Like, wow, soldiers with machine guns can't kill these aliens, but a group of kids with pipes can. Then he gets knocked out, wakes up and finds a machine gun on the street. Uh-oh. You know, maybe that school shooter joke I made earlier might be a bit more accurate than I thought. I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to talk about this game for more than like 2 minutes. The game has about as much going on as a rice cracker.
See? Boring.
So we get to one of the fuck ugliest start screens I've ever seen. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a dark green dog shit. And then a character select screen, because that's right, if you want to experience the full story of Space Invaders Independence Day, you have to play through this pile of bollocks 3 times. They'll be fucking lucky if anybody even plays through it once! The name struck me as a little weird as well. The 2 white characters have American names, but then the black character is called Naji. I had to Google it because it made no sense to me, and oh, wow, how deep. Do you get it? Anyway, here's the gameplay. And that's the game. Literally. How the fuck did they think they'd be able to tell a dramatic story when this is their gameplay? It'd be like making a game about a cancer survivor overcoming their trauma, but then the gameplay is fucking bubble bobble. Every single fucking stage follows this exact same pattern. You go to some random location, back streets, town, underground, hangar bay, the fucking spaceship, fight waves of enemies, and then rinse, dry, repeat. It's so fucking bad. You just keep darting from left to right and keep shooting. There's a jump roll dodge that you can do, but it ends up being slower than the basic movement. Then there's this stage where there's cars at the bottom of the screen, which I guess are there to serve as shields in the same way that the original Space Invaders used. But here, they're just a massive hindrance because they block you from being able to hit the aliens. You also have these grenades that you can throw that clear the screen of enemies, and there's also these temporary power-ups that you can get. How fucking riveting. The enemies are really weird looking too. Aside from the aliens that look like arses with legs, you have green apes with hand cannons, purple birds carrying spikes, diseased testicles, someone's floating graphic design homework, drunk people in Halloween costumes, plants, battletoads that ride on cars, a clone of your character, doom monsters, a pair of legs. There's a fucking pair of legs attacking me! Oddly, the bosses aren't nearly as interesting. Again, there's a big cyber demon from Doom, a blob monster, a plant monster, and then a giant enemy crab.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
I changed my mind, I fucking love this game now. The levels are so fucking long. They keep going and going and going, and there's no indication as to when the waves of enemies are going to stop until the end boss finally arrives and wastes more of your time until they eventually die. The only thing driving the game forward and what kept me playing was the dramatic story. And get ready, because I was saving the best for last. So the story of Space Invasion Invaders Space is that Ashley is searching for her fiancé, the guy in the picture that she was gawping at in the opening cutscene. It's hard to put into words how utterly fucking poorly executed this story is. There's an alien invasion happening, and instead of checking a hospital or where he works or checking, I don't know, a survivor camp or whatever would be set up during an alien invasion, she just jumps onto a motorbike and speeds toward the epicenter of the invasion, where there'd be less of a chance of finding somebody that you're looking for. She's obviously not in too much of a hurry either, seeing as she wasted time taking a fucking shower. Just keep in mind, this game has been sold on the premise of it having a dramatic story. So you would figure that Ashley has an idea in mind on where to find her missing fiancé in the city, but no, instead, the first level opens up with her having lost the motorbike and running from the aliens into a dead end where she bizarrely says,
You leave me no choice.
What? Why would she say that? As if she's been hesitant on killing the aliens? Wasn't that the fucking idea?
I survived. So, maybe he'll be alive too.
I'm not joking when I say that every stage starts and ends with her acting like a bumbling moron.
Roy, where are you?
She always arrives at locations with no goal, almost sounds confused for being there.
Those monsters. Why? Why did they do this?
Like, there's a stage set in the fucking sewers, and it's not as if she found a clue that her fiancé would be down there. She just wanders in, for no reason. Then, in a military hangar bay, she's calling out for him, and all the while I'm wondering why the fuck would he be in a military hangar bay? She comes across like a brain-dead bimbo. Nothing that she does or says makes sense.
Not yet. I can't die yet.
Even the delivery of the voiceover is the shits. I mean, look at the cutscene when she walks into the town.
What happened here?
Oh, I don't know, maybe the alien invasion that you've already been fighting through, you stupid cunt.
Wake up! Ah! The corpses are moving. Please forgive me.
God, this game is so fucking bad. Anyway, this goes on for a few stages until we inexplicably end up inside the Invader's spaceship. How the fuck did she get into a spaceship? It just glosses completely over it, like, what the fuck is going on?
He must be held in here.
Held? Why on earth would he be held? It's not as if he's the president. And somehow, throughout all of this bollocks, the story somehow gets worse.
I will come for you, Roy.
So after we beat the Arbiter and his energy sword, she again calls out for her fiancé.
Roy, where are you?
And we end up at the core of the Invader's spaceship, because I guess that's where Roy will be. So this clueless fucking idiot somehow stumbles her way into the core of the spaceship and again wonders where she is, instead of focusing on the giant floating eyeball that's staring at her in the middle of the room.
Where am I?
It's almost meta, as if they were literally trying to create the most inept video game character of all time. This whole scene plays like a bad sitcom.
What do you want, Invader? Invader? You are the Invader! Give me back Roy! Roy? What is Roy? My fiancé! You guys took him! Fiancé, fiancé. What do you mean by fiancé?
It's so fucking bizarre. Then the game somehow manages to fall off another cliff when it tries to explain why the aliens are attacking.
The signals that come from this place, radio signals, electrical waves, it's invading our space. We must stop this invasion.
Wow. That's the stupidest reveal I've seen since Peter Molyneux showed up in the middle of that cube. At least the alien quickly wins us back when it starts roasting Ashley.
I hate your voice. I hate your looks. I hate your heart. You are nothing to me. Shut up!
Anyway, then it floats away and I'm left with one of the worst stages that I've ever played in my fucking life. Wave after wave of enemies and then wave after wave of every boss that I've beaten so far in the game, and then 3 stages of the final boss. Fucking shoot me.
What I want is to kill all of you!
And if you want an example of why this is one of the worst games ever made, then here's how I beat the final boss. Welcome to my speedrun. Don't move your character. Stand still, hold the fire button and just keep pressing continue when you die. Don't worry, there's no game over, so you can die as many times as you like. Oh, and don't pick up any health either, because when you respawn, the game replenishes your grenades, so picking up any health will only make the boss fight longer. Keep shooting, keep dying, and keep throwing your grenades at the boss. Don't move, die, respawn, throw grenades. How the fuck did this get made? Did they even play the game when it was finished? It's fucking terrible! Thanks for watching my walkthrough, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed my guide. So the boss dies and we inexplicably cut to our character off of the spaceship and standing on a bridge. How did she get off the spaceship? Then she turns around and suddenly starts shooting off a machine gun like some sort of crazed psychopath. Then it cuts to another alien on a different spaceship, and then the game ends. What? So, what about her fiancé? The whole point of the fucking story was that she's looking for her fiancé.
Maybe he'll be alive too. Roy, where are you? Roy, you must be alive. I will find you. He must be held in here. I will come for you, Roy. Give me back Roy.
And the game just outright abandons it. I have never seen a game tell a story this bad, and boy is that saying something. Then the end credits play over some shitty country rock song. Oh, fuck. Just out of morbid curiosity, I had to load up the stories for the other 2 characters, and surprise surprise, they end up being exactly the same as Ashley's. Justin's even has the same dialogue.
You leave me no choice.
They broke new ground with Naji though, who says shoot, but the subtitles change it to shit.
Shoot! They're coming!
Then I let him die. Fuck this game. Do you want to know how embarrassed Tato were about this game? When it released in North America 8 months after it released in Europe, the reception to it over here was so negative that they changed the name from Space Invaders Invasion Day to Space Raiders. They literally removed the affiliation to Space Invaders, entirely out of shame. You are nothing but a disappointment, you stupid fucking game. You think about what you've done. Hi guys, I just want to say thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it a little more than I liked making it. Also, a big thank you to the names that are scrolling up your screen there. A list of beautiful people, if I do say so myself, who support me on Patreon, of which you can too if you visit the link in the description below. And finally, a quick thank you to the 4 guys at the very bottom of the screen there, who helped me out with a short film that I made a while back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.
Hello there! Obi-Wan Kenobi here! Don't support Tennings on Patreon. I've seen a security hologram of him killing younglings. So uncivilized. Your support gets you name after every video, polls deciding future game reviews, outtakes and scripts. I have the higher ground. The link to Tenning's Patreon is below.